All right, so let's talk a little bit. Let's shift gears entirely and let's talk about Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah.
So I just got it was a mix up. I should have actually had it like 2 days ago, but I just got my review code for it. So I played it a little bit actually before we started today. And visually, and so let me just put this into perspective before I get too deep into it, right? I didn't play long enough to be given like a complete evaluation. So I don't mean this to come off as that, right? So let me make sure I preface it by saying that, right? But I will say that I'm not like I think it visually it looks great, but I need to continue to play. I'll keep
Mhm.
saying that. But there's a couple things that I've seen that I don't know that I love. I can't say that I hate them, but I don't know that I love them either. And one of the things is the speed
Mhm.
of some of the actions. Right now, this game is a beautiful game to look at. Right, color, the usage of color, the mood and the art design is totally Devil May Cry. If you've ever played a Devil May Cry game, you know what it's supposed to look and feel like. Right, totally has that. But a lot of the action is so that it's like I don't get a chance to appreciate how beautiful it is. Now, to their credit, there are some they give you opportunities where they're total glamour moments,
Mhm.
and those kind of satiate you a bit in that way, where you get a chance to look and go, "Woo, look at that! That's fire," you know. But there's an abruptness to them running. I'm not in love with the camera because it's one of those types of cameras that kind of does that depending on where your focus is.
Mhm.
I'm not totally in love with that. So I need to keep playing, but I think my biggest issue is Devil May Cry sells its characters a lot. Like people, hardcore Devil May Cry fans are super into Dante, super into Nero, super into V. They're in there with them, right? I think that the character progression so far that I've seen, the mouth syncing to the dialogue
Mhm.
and just the overall pacing of the story so far is a little strange. I'm hoping that I get used to it, but as of right now, it, it's it's coming off to me as a game that is trying to I shouldn't say a game. It's coming off as a story that to me is trying to be deep with a bad story and bad actors.
Mhm.
That's the way it's coming off to me. You know, so it would be different if it was like Duke Nukem or something. Like it's like, yeah, these are cheesy lines and they're supposed to be cheesy, and he's cheesy delivering it.
Right, right.
You
Which is
know,
what Devil May Cry used to be.
right. And but this is almost like we're trying to show you that there's some depth to these characters.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't take itself too seriously from that front. I will say I'm definitely looking forward to it. My Devil May Cry history is kind of weird because I wasn't the biggest fan of the original games. I didn't like it until Devil May Cry 4.
Hmm.
When Nero was out, because Nero's gameplay appealed to me with the arm and the grappling and that stuff. That was like when I first really, really got into it. I don't love Dante because of the way the guns play into it. It feels like they don't do anything. It reminds me of almost like John Woo, where it's like 400 million bullets for everything.
Mm.
And I'm
It's funny because it came along around that time when he was a
right,
dude.
right. I like the sword combo, so I'm more into the side characters like Trish, Virgil, Nero. And because this game has and V has like the magic going on, so because there are more playable characters than Dante, I'm actually looking more forward to this one than I was the previous Devil May Cry games. Although I again, strange thing, I like DMC, the previous game that a lot of people weren't happy with.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. A lot of hardcore Devil May Cry people are like they talk if you mention DMC to them, it's like you're a hardcore hip hop fan and somebody told you that Vanilla Ice was a great lyricist or something. It's just
Yeah,
yeah,
and I really like that game. I think
yeah.
that's a really good game. I want to finish that game before going into Devil May Cry. It's kind of like weekend before I pick up DMC5 is what I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah.
And I like the whole Illuminati Red Bull storyline. I think that's all. It's still cheesy, but it's an action story in that kind of Fast and Furious,
Yeah.
underworld kind of vibe. Where, like you said, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's still a fun story with some ideas into it. So I'm looking forward to it until I get my hands on it and really master the combo system, because I won't know if it's good or not. Because that's what those games are really about.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
like Spider-Man. At a certain point, it has to turn into almost video game poetry.
Hmm.
And that if the poetry is there, then I'm all for it. If for it, and from what I'm hearing, that seems to be there. So
That's what it's funny because that was the word, right?
yeah.
So honestly, when I flipped it on, because I did get it a little late, and I have seen a few people saying stuff about it. My expectations were a little higher. And then just leading up to it, even before review copies started going out, the first impressions that were out there were people was like, oh, this is going to be amazing, blah, 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 blah. And so I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's bad or anything like that, because it's
Mhm.
far from bad. You can tell a great deal of work was put into this game, right? You can tell this was not some crap that was thrown together. If you don't enjoy it, it's not because of a lack of effort on their part. It's just that you just didn't dig it, right? So yeah, but I'm gonna keep playing it, and it's funny because Devil May Cry actually has a significant history for me, because my wife used to sit and watch me play through entire games, and
Mhm.
she would follow along the story with me like she was literally watching a movie. She never wanted to play; she just wanted to watch the story unfold.
Yeah.
And Devil May Cry is the first game she ever sat with me and played, and
Oh,
while I
that's
played.
awesome. That's awesome.
So now she's going to sit with me and watch me play Devil May Cry 5 because it reminds us of then.
That's awesome. Yo, stream that, man. Let me
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, I think that might be pretty cool.
So
That
it
might be pretty
also,
cool.
I became a bigger fan as a result of the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 game.
Yeah.
So I've grown an attachment to Trish and Virgil as a result of those games, and
Yeah. Yeah.
playing those
That's
games.
yeah.
I'm a scumbag for playing those two characters, but it
Yeah.
is what
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
it
Hey, I play off ball.
is.